to show you how I make these little bell Christmas ornaments. These little ornaments are great to give away as little gifts at Christmas time. They're very quick and very easy to turn, and obviously they don't take up much material. I'll start off with a block like this. It's about 1.5 inches on the side and 3.5 to 4 inches long. I put this between centers and rough it down into a round blank like this. Turn a tenon on one end right here. And this tenon, of course, is to go into the chuck, which is right here. This is a Nova Midi chuck. It's a small, inexpensive chuck, and works really great. I've had this one for years. First thing I'm going to do with this is to bring this back to round. Anytime you unchuck it and rechuck it, it never goes back in perfectly centered, and it'll wobble a little bit. I want to get it running true before I start turning. So to do that, I'm going to use this. This is a 1-inch skew chisel. I'm going to take a planing cut right down this way with it, bring it back into round. You can see it's wobbling a little bit. That looks and feels pretty good. Now I'm going to mark off the major cutting points on this. I intend to make quite a few of these this year, at least a dozen, probably more. And so I made a template. I'm going to mark off each cutting point. This will be a waist down here where I part it off when I'm done. This will be the crown of the bell, or the yoke, perhaps it's called. This is the bottom mouth of the bell, and this will be the top of the curved-shaped, bell-shaped portion. And this is the clapper area. Now, I don't hollow the bells out. I just cut a slight dome across here, but right in the middle, I'll leave a little bump, which is the clapper kind of dropping right below the mouth of the bell. Most of this turning I'll be doing with a 3/8 inch spindle gouge. And the first cut I'm going to make is just to get rid of the drive center marks that are down on this end. So that's got it cleaned up nicely. Now I'm going to make the clapper. Okay, I think that's good for the clapper right there. I'm going to take a narrow parting tool right here and just make some deeper cuts right along these cut lines here. Now right here is where I'll part it off when I'm done. Right now I'm just marking it out. And right here is the joint between the top of the bell and the crown area, or the yoke area. This, of course, is the bottom of the bell, and it's going to curve inwards from the bottom up to this cut right here. On both the bottom and the top, I want to put a small bead in there. And I'm going to outline that with a diamond parting tool. And I'm also going to remove some of this waste right here at the moment. This will end up being only 3/4, maybe a ½ inch in diameter. Alright, back to here, and now I'm going to cut the curve of the bell in between the top and the bottom. I think that's good on the shape. Before I begin to sand it, I'm going to put some burn marks on there, and before I put the burn marks on, I'm going to cut a very tiny groove for the wire to ride in. There. There. There, there, and there. Now to make that burn mark, I'm just going to use a burning wire. It's nothing but a steel wire between a couple of handles that I've turned. You can buy these, they're not very expensive, but if you've got some steel wire, you can make it really easy. I'm going to remove this. With the lathe running at a high speed, this is the same speed I've been turning at, 1900 RPM. I'm going to hold this wire up against the wood and burn it. This makes a really nice decoration. Alright, that's good right there. I sand with 5 grits of sandpaper. I start out at 180, 240, 320, 400, and 600. Sanding is pretty boring and pretty repetitious as well, so I'm going to shut off the camera. As soon as I finish with the sanding, I'll be back. Alright, I'm finished with the sanding. This is the 600 grit paper. And I'm ready to put on a finish now. What I use for a finish is a friction polish. And the friction polish I use is white shellac, or clear shellac. You can buy commercial friction polishes, and they'll work just fine. I'm sure they may have some advantages over shellac, although I don't really know what they are. Shellac does a great job. It polishes up just like any friction polish. It's easily available, readily available, and it's cheap. So I'm just going to put some on a paper towel, and I want to get all the surface covered, including those little cracks down in there, which can sometimes be difficult. About the only mistake you can make with friction polish is putting too much on. So you get too much of the polish on there, and you start polishing it, it kind of gums up a little bit and leaves these little lines on the wood. And then your only choice really is to sand it back down to bare wood. That's got the polish on there. Normally what you do with the friction polish is take the cloth that you put it on with, put the lathe up at high speed, and polish it just like this. Now, I do it a little bit differently. I'm going to use carnauba wax right away. With the lid on, I'm going to put it all over the ornament, and then I'm going to polish the whole thing, the friction polish and the wax, with my polishing cloth, which has seen a good bit of use and got a good bit of wax already melted in it. I've been running at 600 RPM while I was sanding. I'm going to turn it back up to 1900, because with friction polish you want a high speed. And I'm going to put the wax on just like this. Just get it on all parts of it. And now I use my polishing cloth here. And the idea is you need to feel some heat on your fingertips. If you don't, you haven't got it. You haven't got enough friction. But you can see it polishing up beautifully right there. Now this would be safer to do with a paper towel, because if a paper towel catches, it's just going to tear away. If this cloth catches, it'll wrap around the workpiece, and it's possible it could catch your fingers or something. I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on it because I want quite a bit of heat. And that's all there is to friction polish. This ornament is almost done. I just need to part it off all the way through. And now I gotta catch it. Okay, that ornament is almost done. I have to put a hanger up on the top. Before I ever started this, I had drilled a little hole up on the top. So I've got my hole for the hanger. And I'm going to put just a little more polish just up here to seal this wood and make it the same color as the rest of it. And it will be done.